What's up, YouTubers? It's Laserbeam here. Good to see you. I decided to read Why the Rich Are Getting Richer by Kiyosaki. I have to say that I was very pleased with what I got here. Some of the concepts that he went into I thought were worth the read. I would probably give it a 4.5 out of 5, even though my stamp of approval is something that people look at and say, well, that's not valid. But I think it's pretty valid here. Some of the concepts that we have here: why the rich are getting richer, what should I do with my money, why are savers losers, going in the tale of two teachers, what is real financial education, that includes phantom income, do you have a plan B, and some of the other concepts in the book are really something that can get you to think and brainstorm. I've been a big fan of Rich Dad Poor Dad. This is my third book by Kiyosaki that I've been really intrigued by, and I think it's worth going and picking up at your local library. Some things that I would like to say is I had some problems with it that I think were worthy of considering, which are Kiyosaki does go into this idea that financial education's in ruins. Although I do believe and agree that we can work on our financial education system, I don't think that it's in ruins. I think that we do have a economy where you can have too many cooks in the kitchen. To say that everyone can be an entrepreneur, which is very much what I believe he's trying to gear people towards, as being an entrepreneur, more into assets as opposed to liabilities. The problem is we're not all there yet. And granted, you could be there potentially later on in your life, and you should know that there are options. But to say that we can all be real estate investors, there's not enough wealth to do that. Within an economic system such as capitalism, you are going to have winners and you are going to have losers. And part of his book does go into this idea of having the plan B, learning how to come up from nothing, learning how to bounce back up on your feet once you fall down. But I do want to include that within the book review, although I did learn a lot, I think it's worthy of considering that, well, what kind of world do we really want? How can this really be shared wealth among so many people? And I did find a lot of his histories that he brought up, going into the petrodollar, going into how taxes are formed, and really who gets into our paychecks first. I think it's very worthy of considering, and I do really think through some of these concepts. As someone who personally does really care about things like renewable energy, to read through the idea of fiat currencies and seeing, well, all of a sudden our money is often tied towards oil industry. Well, how are we supposed to get away from that, right? And that's one of those things to kind of keep in mind, especially if you're thinking from that standpoint of, well, we want to have a prosperous economy, we want to have a strong dollar. Well, how are we supposed to have a strong dollar if we have a economic system that is based on oil in many ways and the trade of oil? So these are some of my follow-ups, some of my ideas. Once again, the book's called Why the Rich Are Getting Richer. He does go into the idea of real estate and how phantom incomes exist, how companies are very clever with really trying to play the game of taxes and really trying to get you as a reader to think through how can you turn some of those liabilities that you have into assets, which I think is something that is promising, and I think it's something to consider for everyone who is a consumer in this culture. We are not just consumers in this world, we should also be creators. So with that, this is Laserbeam. Have a wonderful, wonderful evening, and I'll catch you later. Thanks.